Merry Christmas, everyone. Actually, Merry early Christmas. I screwed up.
What are you talking about?
I was under the impression that Song Sung Blue, the new film by Craig Brewer, was out already. Like it opened in limited release last weekend, but that's apparently not the case.
Right.
It is opening wide on Christmas Day, aka Thursday. It opens tomorrow, right?
Right.
The Thursday screening, so people can go check it out. So we're gonna unwrap our Christmas presents early, but I want to forewarn anybody who might be watching this, and we might come back to this point during the show as we get into spoilers, but we're going to be talking spoilers. Now, I am of the opinion that you could know everything about this film and it would not take away the experience of going to see it.
Totally agree.
Because I watched this afternoon because I got a press screening for it, end of the year type award season stuff, and I watched it. And this rocketed way up to the top of my list. I was telling Jeff York this afternoon, this might be a case of recency bias, so I'm going to try and sit on it for a few days, but this might be my favorite film that I've seen this year.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Now I've heard some contrary opinions. I've done a little bit in addition to listening to a lot of Neil Diamond after watching this film. I have checked out some other reviews, and I've heard people saying it's schmaltzy, it's a TV movie biopic type of stuff. I'm not going to disagree, but I will say that there is such a thing as the best possible version of schmaltz and TV biopic awards season bait. And I think when it's done extremely well, which I think it's done extremely well in this case, there really is merit to that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, same.
Not everything has to be dark and heavy and, and everything is pointless. There is some real darkness to this movie, and we're going to talk about it. But before we get into all that, I'm Ian Simmons of Kicking the Seat. We have Katie Glidewell, the blue blonde, in front, and Don Shanahan of Film Obsessive and Every Movie Has a Lesson in Cinephile History of Podcasts and everything else under the sun. So I'm the last person of this panel to see Song Sung Blue, the new film by Craig Brewer, starring Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson. I saw the trailer early on, and I think I had written it off because I didn't catch that it was a Craig Brewer movie, or I found out it was later, or I just completely ignored it. Didn't think much of this movie from watching the previews, but now having watched it, it's an amazing film. I should learn not to ever doubt Craig Brewer. So, Don, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Sure.
I know you're on winter break, but you still are a teacher.
I am.
Can you give us the synopsis of Song Sung Blue? Not the 2008 documentary on which this dramatic version is based.
Yeah.
But the version we're going to talk about tonight.
Sure. No, this is to simple it up, do the cute, post the objective on the board first, somewhere my boss is watching, I'm really impressed. This is the biopic of a tribute band. Let's just put it like that. It really kind of is. So Hugh Jackman plays Mike Sardinia. He is a I guess the impersonator is the word that the movie begins with early with, that he kind of does a little bit of Elvis, does a little bit of Don Ho, and he's kind of doing the county fair, that the American Legion Hall, the little concert scene, open bar, circuit a little bit, and he's working with Michael Imperioli, who plays Buddy Holly, and then he kind of runs into this breath of fresh air named Claire, played by Kate Hudson, who is kind of a Patsy Cline person. And someone kind of gets it in his head, I think it is Claire, who's like, man, you should be Neil Diamond. He's like, but Mike kind of says, oh, but that Neil Diamond is on a trophy case on a pedestal above us. I can't do justice to be Neil Diamond. And eventually they kind of talk him into the idea of like, well, it's just more of a Neil Diamond experience. I'm here too. We can kind of blend it all together. And sure enough, he and who would be his future wife start a Neil Diamond tribute band or experience. And they are called Lightning and Thunder, right? Or Thunder and Lightning? Lightning and Thunder. Lightning and Thunder. I got the order right. And this is kind of their life, surfing through the I don't want to say the meteoric rise, because all they did was go from nicer venues in Wisconsin to slightly nicer venues in Wisconsin. And And then, but I guess the peak for them was opening for Pearl Jam, who has a respect for the old classics that is Neil Diamond, and maybe the off chance that they can run into Neil Diamond someday. So it's about their lives, and the fun part is there's a whole lot of life to lead and to discover and to learn about when they're not, in costume with a microphone in their hand. So we see how there are peaks and valleys to that life, in terms of just kind of the starving and struggling artist, even if you're a pretend one. So there's some merit to that, and at the same time that you have all of the talent in front of you, because it is Hugh Jackman, my goodness, it is Kate Hudson, who I had no clue could play the piano and sing, showing off what they can do to kind of still be, a Neil Diamond jukebox movie, but it's of a Neil Diamond cover band, and that's the easiest way to tell people what this is.
Well, I think you mentioned impersonator, and there was a great kind of line in the film where it's not that Mike balks at that term, but he comes up with the phrase, or maybe it's Claire, in Neil Diamond interpreter, filtering the essence of Neil Diamond to the masses, which I thought was cute. And this movie is a wild ride, because there's almost it's 2 hours and 15 minutes long. You got the 5 minutes plus of obligatory end credits, but it is almost perfectly split down the middle by Brewer, who wrote and directed the film. The first hour is a bunch of really likable / lovable characters meeting each other, falling in love, and just coming up with a dream to not make it, but make something more out of the lot that they kind of have in their life. I mean, both Mike and Claire are divorced. They both have, older teen daughters, I'm going to say. And then Claire has a younger son, and they're just kind of, getting by. Mike's a mechanic. He's a former Marine. His daughter kind of relays to the new stepsister in waiting, a kind of a horror story from his Vietnam days. So you get these little hints filled in as to who they are and why they are who they are. And that first hour is an inspiring, heartwarming ascension. And you're so pulling for these characters over the course of the year that this movie takes place in that first hour, that when the change happens, you spend the next hour plumbing the deepest, darkest depths of despair and marital problems and existential crises. It's the exact mirror of the first part of the film. Yeah. And then there's a nice rebound at the end. But even that rebound has that touch of darkness, but it's also sweet, and it ends on the best possible note. Now,
sure does.
Perhaps this, if this were not based on a true story, and I've not watched the documentary that it was based on, and I don't know much about these people, I'm going to call them characters. So I'm not sure how much of this is license on Brewer's part in adapting their story versus maybe all this wild stuff did happen to them, or at least some version of it did. But if this were not based on a real story, you'd think, wait, no, there's no way. And again, spoilers, folks, there's no way one person almost gets killed via car on their front lawn in the course of a lifetime, let alone the course of like 2 years, right? Yeah. So that sort of, this is all real kind of feeling stuck with me throughout it. And I think the fact that these characters are written as being so grounded and sort of workaday and not prima donnas, that it's not a funny movie. This movie is not making fun of them, and I think that's kind of the vibe I got from the trailer. It carried me all the way through the ups and the downs and the downs and the ups, and I was jealous of people who are going to see this in a theater with other people on Christmas, people that they love. I think this is a genuine, heartwarming, screaming Oscars at you from every which direction. I think well deserved, that we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah. Like, I mean, compared to like A Complete Unknown last year, which is kind of doing the whole, jukebox musical thing, but it's different between that and like even the Springsteen with Jeremy Allen White this year. Like when you do an Elvis the year before, and we're in musical biopic hell right now, where there's just a lot of them. And they all feel a lot of the same as like, hey, we have this, this meteoric rise. We have the dark side of their story, and then there's, you still have, I guess you called it the rebound, but there's always, you find a way to still end it in some kind of peak. Even if you don't end it on a peak, you still end it on a big stamp. But the difference is that we're watching actors play the actual people. This is just regular good old folks who just happen to have it's just a layer down a layer down from stardom, but a layer closer to us in life, where I think it's just more relatable and more affecting, that we can go, man, this could have been the guy we just saw the other night playing music at our own bar. Like it's just a little closer to us than it is, People magazine tabloid stardom. So I just admire it for that.
Great. Well said. And I think last thing I want to say, because I want to get Katie's thoughts
Please,
on this
yeah.
too. What I like about that kind of groundedness is that their big dream, once they form Lightning and Thunder and they kind of get this small group together that's going to be their band and their kind of staff, is maybe someday they can get on the local casino circuit and play, because the one guy played by Jim Belushi, who's the most kind of cartoonish out of this bunch, but he still feels like he could exist. It's like he's got all these connections. They might have to play some dive bars initially, but they might get to play that circuit someday. And who knows? Vegas is like a pipe dream. But yeah. So Katie, jump in here.
No, I agree with both of you wholeheartedly. One thing I was telling somebody, it's like you're watching this film that is, like you said, it is about ordinary people, that you see them at the highest of their highs and also the lowest of their lows and coming out of it. And it's all about the possibilities that they have to get out of where they want to be. They want to do this for a living. This is their dream. This is their goal. This is what they're meant to be. And when they achieve that, and then I don't want to say it's a tragedy, but when, something happens that, honestly, I am like you, Ian. I did not watch a documentary. I had no knowledge of these two other than they're based in Wisconsin. I love all the marketing and everything they've done in Wisconsin, because I think that is incredible, especially for a film with the stars that they have, that they're really getting those grassroots marketing in Wisconsin, going to these places that are in the film that Lightning and Thunder would go to. And I think that's what more films should be like. But when the circumstance happened with the car, my jaw was on the ground. I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me right now. Like, what is going on? And then you've got that. Then you've got another thing. Then you've got another thing. And I'm like, oh my God, did this really happen to these people? And then to get out of that, like, kind of circumstantial hole that they're in and still have, that hope and dream. And then something else happens, like, dude, you guys, seriously, my heart is about to explode out of my chest. And I mean, let's give it up to the chemistry between Kate Hudson and Hugh Jackman. I mean,
definitely,
that is off the charts. I never would have seen that happen. I never thought in my mind that was even a possibility. Kate Hudson, I honestly, if she does not get an Oscar nomination, I don't know what the hell is wrong with the Academy, because this is by far, I know people are saying, comparing this like from Almost Famous to this blows the performance from Almost Famous away. Totally. I am aware that she could sing. I didn't necessarily know about the piano, but I was fully aware that she could sing. Huge fan of Glee, knew all the stuff that she could do on that. Okay. This, though, was just a whole other level. And every single person in the cat, like Michael Imperioli, being the Buddy Holly, it's like, where did that come from?
I had to look it up too. Like he could do guitar and sing too. I had no idea.
Huge surprise. So it's like this film was just full of like monumental surprises that I'm watching. And like you said, this is the perfect movie for people to go with their families to the theater at Christmas. Like, you've got Marty Supreme. Believe me, Marty Supreme was on number 2. You have Anaconda. That'll be fun for the kids. Like, dumb fun. It's not like it's good. But this one is a film that, honestly, I feel like the film that we need right now. It's that film, like, you've got these people. They do not give up. They're not rich by any means whatsoever. Even when they do open for Eddie Vedder, for why am I blanking?
Pearl Jam. Sorry about that, everybody. Gen X kid, I should have known that.
But even when they open for Pearl Jam, it's not like they're like flush with cash and all this stuff. Like, but they're achieving things that they never thought they could have done. But they did that with each other. They saw that in each other. Like, I mean, their name is Lightning and Thunder, but it was like that lightning chemistry. And it's like, as soon as they locked eyes on each other, that was amazing. And yeah, everything you guys have said, like, honestly, I think I told Don after we were done, I'm like, and I think I just saw my number 10 film of the year. It's definitely going to be in my top 10. It's like, I just love the ride it was on. I, just like you said, Ian, I wish you could have been there in the theater, because honestly, it's even better in the theater. And everyone,
I saw this at home, and wasn't the same.
Everyone really should go out in the theater and see it for Christmas, and take everyone they love. And it's like, know that, you know, you've got a dream, go for it. Even if you may not, you know, make the money that Pearl Jam does, keep going for it. Do what you love to do, what you're meant to do. And that's what I feel like Lightning and Thunder really did.
Yeah, I mean, that's so true. And I think the incident that changes, we're just going to go and get into it, because
the spoiler banner's on.
We got the spoiler banner on.
Yeah, we do. And just folks, if you're watching, once again, we're opening our Christmas present early with this review of Song Song Blue. It opens officially Friday, but you know, it'll be out tomorrow for Christmas Eve, so you can catch it likely in your area, and we all recommend that you do. But just be warned, we're about to get into something very specific that changes the course of the narrative in this movie and is a big spoiler. And it's also the one moment in the film that I thought was pretty terribly directed. And I kept going back to, maybe this is how it happened, but I've got questions. Okay. So Claire is out in the front yard, and a car, she's planting flowers, and then she's looking at something up on the roof. And in the background, because we're seeing this from inside the house through their picture window of their living room, we see her kind of like stand up. In the distance, we see a car careening out of control, coming down the block and then running through the grass and everything. And it hits her. We don't see the moment of impact, but we see the last like half a second before it happens. And my question is, she wasn't apparently wearing, you know, earbuds, or I mean, this is like the mid to late 90s this movie takes place in. So she wasn't wearing like headphones or something like that. How the hell did she not, was she taken unawares by a car swerving out of control, running up on her lawn?
That happened so fast, quotient of things that happen that way.
But she didn't, but she didn't, like, there was no sound to this thing. I mean, cars make sound, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
It's a surprise. Even if she had looked back, like just like it was too late for her to move, I could understand that. But that again, maybe this is how it happened, and I'm missing something. But it just felt like it was jarring, because it's like it was the Marvel humor. I guess that just happened in my head. I'm like, this isn't really what I know. The movie's been kind of funny in parts, but this seems a little bit too weird.
Go ahead, Katie.
I could see where you could see that being an issue if it then didn't happen twice, which apparently it did, because not only did it, if we're talking spoilers, not only did that happen, and then she gets hit, and we're talking spoilers, she loses her leg. She then goes out. It's not necessarily a year, and there's been some ups and downs with the pain and the medications and all that stuff, but she's going to. She's standing there in front of the house again, and she's like, wow, this is where it happened. You know, she wants to, and then she steps aside and goes up the stairs, and a car goes to the exact same place. If it didn't happen twice, I could understand, but I mean, neither time did she know that car was coming. And it's that second time that I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This could not have happened. And apparently it did.
Yeah.
Right, but the second, in terms of the second incident, there are more people outside with her.
Sure.
That again, I mean, cars, we're not even talking about a hybrid. We're talking about vehicles from like the mid 90s. These things aren't like cruise missiles that can go, even a cruise missile would make some kind of a sound going through the, through the air. It just seemed, I was more on board with the second car crash happening because it's more of a gag than the first one. Again, I think if it had just, this is just my preference, I think it's the one moment in the movie where I'm like, this really feels kind of fake. I don't believe what I'm watching. But everything else that came after it, I think was hyper not hyper realistic, but very realistic,
Mhm.
and very well
Yeah.
done. And I should mention,
Yeah.
you know, if people don't know Craig Brewer, I mean, he really blew up with Hustle and Flow about
There you
20
go.
years ago. He followed it up with a quite astounding remake of Footloose. I was blown away by that movie.
Okay.
Black Snake Moan, and Dolomite Is My Name, a number of other, you know, films. But yeah, he's got a fantastic track record, and he's one of those guys that just seems to. He's kind of like Tarantino, but far less obnoxious and anonymous. Like every once in a while, you find out, oh wait, there's a new Craig Brewer movie coming out. I had no idea he was working on anything. He just kind of disappears and does his own thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is kind of in line with his filmography, kind of oddball, but you know, based in real life ish characters set into these extreme situations, and how do they deal with the situation and themselves to get out of it. So, Claire loses part of her leg
Mhm.
in this
Mhm.
accident, and she has, you know, rehab therapy. She gets a prosthetic. She's placed on a cocktail of different medications to help her
Mhm.
deal with the pain and all that stuff, but she goes into the spiral of, you know, drugs, and it kind of starts to destroy her life and her marriage. And that's where like the middle to late portion of this movie kind of takes place.
Yeah.
Don, what did you make of the turn in terms of like switching up tones?
Well, I think you said it best at the beginning when you said just it feels very right down the middle where it's well balanced. It's not like Million Dollar Baby where it's the last. I know Million Dollar Baby winds into it where you have, you know, 30 to 40 minutes of movie where, you know, Hilary Swank is is bedridden and stuck, but like this movie felt more even than that one, you know, where it didn't feel as this felt more halfway than just plugged in the third act. So because of that, you have time to see where these characters are in terms of like I just think a lot more of the performance and a lot more of the dedication that these characters have to each other, let alone what they want to do creatively, comes out in those scenes where, you know, Mike stands by his girl and, you know, and just takes the highs and lows and the crappy jobs and the like to see Mike go through his angle of that while his wife is, you know, stuck where she's stuck, was an affecting part of the movie. I don't know if we normally we get Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is, you know, Captain Charisma. Like he can never really do much wrong in a movie. To see him hit a low like that, you know, where he's in the Korean restaurant or whatever what happens to be, like it's just I admired Hugh so much more in that performance than I normally do when Hugh's normally just megawatt smile guy. So and at the same time, there's Kate Hudson just destroying it with you know with affecting drama. So both those two to the chemistry that you know that Katie spoke of, we get it when the lights are on and it's flashy, but we also still have great chemistry from those two when they're at their lowest, and that's
Mhm.
really impressive because I think I'd like to think 80% of the time, 90% of the time, marriages would be that way. Like there's a stand by your girl, stand by your man quotient where I'm not leaving you and I'm going to go as low as you need me to go. And I admired that depiction.
I
Agreed.
want to zero in. I agree too, and I want to zero in on something real quick. It's something that rubbed me the wrong way in the trailer. I think it
Okay.
spoke to that kind of daffy tone I mentioned earlier. And now, having watched the movie, I'm kind of offended by it. Now, Don, you don't watch the trailers,
I don't
and
watch
Katie, I don't know
trailers.
if you watched the trailer for this either. Probably not. But that speech, I'm going to call it the stairwell speech that Mike gives to Claire at the end of the movie about like, you know, it doesn't matter what Neil Diamond thinks of me because you're my everything. And he kind of goes through these different lyrics, and it's very touching and very heartfelt and very cute. That's a goosebumps moment in the movie, especially given what we know Mike is going through at that moment. They play that in the trailer.
Yeah.
And it's kind of in
Like a rah-rah
a heartfelt kind of beat, but because it's without any context of these characters, it's Hugh Jackman in the hair and the outfit, and Kate Hudson looks kind of ridiculous, like she's a New Jersey, you know, hairdresser mom or something. You're like, oh, this is a cheesy statement of love, and these people are ridiculous. I think they should have left that out because I had forgotten that moment that I'd seen that a couple of months ago, and then when it comes up in the film, like, oh, this was spoiled for me. This would have been a wonderful out of the blue moment.
Katie and I have preached you this for years, man. Stop
Yeah.
watching those shitty trailers,
Stop
man.
watching the trailers, man.
Look, I am a captive when I go to the AMC. I can't
You
block
can
it out.
step on the lobby and get a drink and take a piss. You know, there's ways to get around it. Just saying.
There's a reason
no.
why I walk in 20 minutes late
Mhm.
because it's like, believe me, I'm not saying Anaconda is a great film, but there's a scene. There was a trailer on TV, and there's a scene in that trailer that I am enraged about, and this is like the epitome of why I do not watch trailers.
Let me just ask, stepping aside, does it involve the appearance of a
Yes.
actor?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I saw that
a hell of a great
TV
surprise.
spot.
We don't know what's coming. Yeah.
I saw that same TV spot yesterday, and I was like, they gave that away?
Yeah.
That away.
Wow.
I saw it during football too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I didn't know from the press.
Rage in my voice.
Yeah.
I feel like Madeline Kahn. Fire flames in my face, and yeah.
That's Sony trying too hard. They must get, for some reason they must think they have bad tracking or advanced data. Whatever marketers are in their ears are like, oh man, it's not looking good this weekend. I think Marty Supreme's going to win. We need to do something. Let's cut up this trailer spot with Ice Cube, and like, man, so
Stupid. All you need to do is do just snippets of Steve Zahn because he's the funniest thing in the movie. Let's go to Song Song Blue.
Yes.
Well, before we get back to that, I do want to say Anaconda is a weird. Just wait a week. This is a January. I haven't seen it, but I'm like, if they're gonna put this out, put it out in January. Leave the blockbusters to the snobs, and then go for the entertainment popcorn in January. So back to Song Song Blue. I want to mention, I think there's so many great moments in this movie. It's not just Hudson and Jackman together, but when they're kind of on their own, there's a moment where Claire kind of has a breakdown and realizes that she needs some help, and Mike commits her to a rehab facility. And when he's signing the papers, or he's filling out the forms, and the lady at the desk is like, and I need you to list any medication she's on and all this stuff. And he's like, his hand is shaking, and it looks like Hugh Jackman had been up for 6 days, like dealing with a family member in crisis. But he just says to the lady at the desk, he says, I know I'm a stranger to you, but what I really need right now is for you to tell me I'm doing the right thing. Who writes that into a movie? I mean, that's the kind. This movie is full of those moments of dialogue that I know we've had those real conversations in our lives. We never see that kind of stuff on the big screen.
You're right. Normally that is Hollywood screenwriter pie in the sky. We can't go too heavy crap, and yet it's so simple of a line and so simple of a thing that just filling out paperwork, and you're the husband that doesn't keep track of the bills and the paperwork. Like, it would be that thing for a guy like that, and it's real. Like I said, this is not a superstar person's problem. Like, this isn't Bob Dylan in a year ago. This isn't Bruce Springsteen earlier this year. Like, these are real people problems, not superstar problems, and I think that's what hits so much better. It's beautiful. It's
just extremely relatable, and the fact that Mike himself is a alcoholic, and he's been he's 20 years sober, and he cherishes that achievement. And with everything that they go through, the fact that he still holds on to that sobriety. I mean, this is relatable. This is these are everyday people going through extraordinary struggles, but everyday struggles, because it's like there's that, and the fact the time this is supposed to be on, this is supposed to be happening with the opioid epidemic and whatnot. And I didn't watch the documentary, so I'm not sure how much time is supposed to be spanning, because it feels like from the beginning to end, it's supposed to be like 2-3 years, maybe. I feel like it's probably supposed to be longer than that, but I didn't want to dive into anything, because I just wanted to watch the film and have what that is. But the fact that she is aware and wants to get help and knows she needs to get help is such a huge testament to her, to make sure it's like, I'm not going to screw up this family. Like, I know I need to do this. And, I know someone who has lost their leg, and I'm very proud of them, with everything that they went through. She's right next to me, so she's like cheering herself on. And the pain medication, stuff like that. It is an ongoing thing that doesn't go away no matter how much you try. So I can relate to what Kate Hudson's character, what this woman went through, and what her children had to go through to help with that. And I mean, again, this is just such a great movie for people to see and really, have some kind of homegrown heroes. Like,
That's right.
not all heroes have to wear capes, but sometimes they wear capes with sparkles and sequins and maybe some bells on them, and then sing some kick-ass Neil Diamond. And that's why
that's the fun at the end of the day
everyone should see this.
Because that's the fun at the end of the day, is like the line that earlier in the movie, like, who doesn't love Neil Diamond? Like, exactly, like, come to this movie and jam. It's worth it just for that. I don't love Neil Diamond either, but I'm here for it nonetheless.
No, here's the thing. I didn't love Neil Diamond before watching this movie. It's because I knew, of course, everyone knows Sweet Caroline in America, and I think I heard Cherry Cherry, but there's so, like, this Suleiman song, which is like the centerpiece. It's almost the running joke, but it's also such a great kind of, not metaphor, but it's a great thesis statement for the movie, because the characters in this are always talking about, like, everybody only knows Sweet Caroline from Neil Diamond, but we're not going to open for him, even if there's a biker bar full of people. It might get a little rough if we don't play the hits. They are obsessed with Suleiman, which is a great kind of big theatrical song, and they're so committed to it. They want smoke machines and a leaf blower to blow back Mike's hair as he's doing the Neil Diamond thing, and they make it a big centerpiece. But I love that this movie showcases a lot of Neil Diamond's songs, many of them coming directly out of Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson's mouse. I spent a month on Mark's Spoiler Room podcast talking about movies involving Beatles songs. And we talked about Across the Universe and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I almost didn't make it through that month because I think those movies are terrible. But what I loved about this movie is it kind of takes the same formula. It's one artist, a lot of their discography played through a narrative film, but this is done in such a way that it's the characters aren't breaking out into songs in a musical fashion. It's all diegetic to gigs that they play. And even some fantasy sequences, like when Claire is having a hallucination, which ends up really sad. But it serves the story. It really gets your kind of toes tapping. It makes you want to stand up and start clapping or crawl inside a bottle and never leave, depending on which part of the movie you're in.
Did you two ever see a couple years back, Yesterday, the Beatles one with Hamish Patel, where, like, same idea. We're like, we all know the Beatles. We all have our Beatles favorites, but filtered through an everyman, or filtered through obviously that's an extreme situation of what if the Beatles were never here, but like, just to see that music kind of deconstructed, reconstructed by a person who loves it, and obviously, interpreters, impersonators and cover bands and tribute bands love this stuff. Like, it's fun to watch them love what they love and show it to us. So to see, like, that movie Yesterday, same idea, where, like, the Beatles aren't so overplayed when they come out of a different vessel in a different way.
Great point of reference. I had forgotten that movie because, spoiler alert, I hated that movie too. But
I like it.
I just don't think you like the Beatles. If you don't,
no, that's the thing, is I love the Beatles, and you gotta that's a very high bar to set.
You're gonna get 4 movies next year.
Wait, what?
Sam Mendes is making 4 Beatles movies next year. 4. One centered on each character, and they merge all together. Barry Keoghan.
What is this, the MCU? What is this nonsense? You're upsetting me, Don.
Sam Mendes. You'll look it up after the show. It's the
BCU.
Yeah.
The Beatles Cinematic Universe.
There it is. Yeah.
There you go. BCU.
I saw American Beauty 14 times in the theater between 1999 and 2000.
14?
You just admitted that.
Sorry, 13. 13. I saw Pulp Fiction 14 times.
Okay.
Well,
a few years earlier.
Yeah. So American Beauty 13 though.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of bags blown in the
camcorders. That really is a lot of bags blown in.
Yeah. So I feel like I can skip Sam Mendes' next 4 movies and just say, you've got my money, sir. I have no interest in any of that nonsense. Anyhow,
Yeah.
Flash forward to December 2026 when I'm proven wrong somehow. Um,
Can we talk about the fact that I love, obviously, Sweet Caroline, that it's a running joke that everyone's like, you got to open with Sweet Caroline, which, like,
Right.
no, that's always a closer and stuff like that. And,
right.
but I love the fact that there were, I mean, I can't say I'm pretty proficient in Neil Diamond. However, watching this movie, I didn't realize some of the songs that he has made that are just absolutely beautiful. And when Claire sings Holly Holy or something like yeah, full body chills. Like Hudson, again, give her this nomination. I don't even know if she needs to be nominated for, I know she's nominated for a Golden Globe. We'll see what happens, but I mean, it's like, I love the fact that they played that. I love the fact that they played like Play Me, which is beautiful. So just all of these, like, maybe well known or not as like hugely like giant Neil Diamond songs, but just giving an audience like more Neil Diamond than Sweet Caroline.
Yeah, definitely.
When they sing Forever in Blue Jeans, that duet is like, that is just, they're just like perfect love song moments in movies. And I think there might be a couple in this film, and that's definitely one of them. One of the, I think the biggest feats that Hudson and Jackman for me pull off in this is it made me, I was conscious of the fact that I was watching two actors. When you get to that level of fame, you kind of like forget, I don't remember the character's name, but that's Kate Hudson and that's Hugh Jackman. They're on this movie. So on one level, you're always out of the picture. But in this case, I sort of had that issue, but I was marveling at the fact that I forgot that both of these, especially Hugh Jackman with that Deadpool Wolverine money, is like completely, utterly, fabulously wealthy. If he ever had the problems that Mike and Claire had in this movie, it was decades ago. But he made me believe that he has been through this and he can draw on those experiences. I didn't like, oh, this is just a guy going for a statue. This is a guy going through some stuff.
Yeah. There's a version of this movie where it's a complete Hugh Jackman glamour project where, like, let me show you how good I am about singing. I'm going to put on a wig, I'm going to put on the sequins, and I'm going to give you Neil Diamond, guys. And he doesn't have to. And sometimes, again, those musical biopics can be a bit of like, not necessarily just a glamour project for celebrating the artist, but it can be a glamour project of like, hey, look at me as an actor. I can do all this, and we've known Hugh could do this for a very long time. So for him to play a man and not Neil Diamond, just again lowers it to a more accepting level, like, because Hugh Jackman could blow these songs to the rafters if he needed to, but he doesn't. He still, like, I love that. I guess this is the end of their first date where they're in her house and they're on the piano and they're figuring out how to sing together, and just that magical moment where no amplifiers, no microphones, just piano, her and him, and they're just making music together, and it's and at a level that's not performative. And it's beautiful. Best scene in the movie for me is that one there. I mean, amongst the zillions of beautiful scenes, but when they got you right there, when you're watching those two just cook,
Yeah, I mean, there's something to that. Their first date, like over corn dogs and French fries at the Wisconsin County Fair. I mean, it's there that I think I really picked up on Kate Hudson's Wisconsin accent, and she's walking a line there. Flashback to a different biopic, because it's very easy to get into a Midwestern overblown accent. You could, you could easily fall into Da Bears, doing this thing, but she has a recognizable accent, but it's not a cartoon, and it's something bigger than just the material she's giving, because it's a great script. She really is living in this character. Jackman, he sounds more like he's just Hugh Jackman doing kind of his American voice.
He's doing his best. Yeah.
There's a little bit of Wisconsin, like a couple of cheese curds here and there in some of his delivery, but it's not as convincing as she is, certainly.
Yeah. And it's not like Jodie Comer a year ago in The Bike Riders, where it's like Wisconsin, like an anvil to your head,
You just beat me to that, Don, because that's no. That is exactly who I was going to say. Let's try not doing that. Because I was like, where's this? Wait, this is supposed to be in Illinois? What?
Right.
where is she from?
I don't know. It's
funny
south of Fargo.
because
Yeah.
when you say your favorite scene, my favorite scene in the film is when we're at Jackman's house and everyone's coming over for them to like the band to get together. He's pulled all his favors and all this stuff, but he's also like they have to open up the garage and he warns everybody, and he gives the audience the warning too. It's like, you know, the neighbor lady over there, she's been giving us looks. We're gonna see what happens. And then they start singing. And then you even have her, like this woman that we don't know, but we automatically, it's like, okay, it's like there's going to be the police coming and all that. But then you see her on the lawn going, na, 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 na. And I'm like, okay, I like where this movie is going to go. This is the way I want. This is what I want to happen.
It is a fun moment. And that's, again, back when the movie is kind of cheery and poppy and upbeat. What I do appreciate is for as many cliches as this film could have gone into, Brewer, I would think consciously, even if it's just a matter of trying to follow the true story, whatever that is, sidesteps those moments. There's a bit, and to answer your question earlier, Katie, I think this does take place over 3 years, or at least we're meant to, because it opens with Mike giving kind of a soliloquy and then a song for his 20th anniversary in AA. Yeah. And then we see the 21st. That's the time jump to see, you know, once Lightning and Thunder start like really making it big. And then at the very end of the film, the young son, Claire's young boy, is watching a tape of Mike. Right. Mike's dead at this point. Again, spoiler alert, when he's for his 22nd anniversary. Now, that could have been an older tape, but I think we're kind of meant to believe this movie has taken place over the course of 3 years. But at one point, Mike's sobriety is really in jeopardy because of all the stuff that's going on with Claire, of, you know, being behind on the bills. Claire's daughter, Rachel, announces that, again, spoilers, look at the banner, she's pregnant. And the resolution of that story is, you know, unique, especially for, you know, what you might expect in a blockbuster today. But Mike is tooling around in his garage and he finds a beer bottle in his toolbox. Probably like, oh, I'll stash this here and maybe someday, you know, in case of emergency, break glass. We've seen this 100 times, and it's always the darkest point. The guy gets back on the horse or falls off the horse. He doesn't. He takes it into the kitchen and pours it down the drain. And it's almost, because I think there's something else that happens right after that, so it's not like the point of the scene. It's a very casual. It's not like there's a close-up of the beer bottle as it's slowly going down the drain. It's those kinds of moments that made me realize I'm in the hands of someone who cares about telling a great story in a way that we haven't seen 100 times before. I want to talk about the ending show, because they get a gig at the Ritz in downtown Wisconsin, or Milwaukee, I guess. And it's for Wednesday, 3 weeks from now, so they can promote the show. It's a huge venue, and they're doing it as counter programming to an actual Neil Diamond concert happening like across town. And I love that it's this very kind of the people kind of an event, because it's for all the people who couldn't get tickets to the Neil Diamond show. They can get probably much cheaper tickets, and both venues are sold out. And even though it's the gateway to tragedy, as we'll find out in this movie's fifth act, I usually am not a fan of movies that go beyond that 3-act structure, but this thing kind of keeps creeping along, and it does it very well. But that show, that concert, wow. It's a great way to end a movie. And it's not even the show-stopping song of the movie. That happens later at the funeral. This I always complain about, like I mentioned, the multiple endings. That it's the kind of the joke. It's the Return of the King end, and they just don't know when to stop. Kind of like me in this monologue tonight. But
you're doing all right. Keep it going.
You're doing great. Keep going. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I feel like I'm soapboxing, but I'm just so in love with this movie. This is. I can't think of another film, and again, maybe this is recency bias, that does we're going to do multiple endings and they keep getting better and better and better instead of wearing out their welcome. Help me out here, Don.
I think the reason why it works is the endings, the climaxes and the endings that come after, like the movie and like the people, get smaller. Like you have this big concert and this big moment, and it's Neil Diamond across town, and shit, we might get to meet him, you know, and then bang, he's dead. And then bang, it's the aftermath, then it's a funeral, and then it's just the videotape and his son, you know, it's the smallest, most intimate, private moment, and that's where you stop. Like the fact that you get smaller as you go is different than, you know, Return of the King, where no one bows, you know, you bow to no one, and the whole place goes up. And then, because even that movie actually makes it smaller too, until you get to the Grey Havens. But like by the time Sean Astin is asking the girl out of the bar, we feel like that things have winded down small. But then of course we have this big, huge finale. But yeah, it knows how to stop at the right spot. Because yeah, you could put Kate Hudson in age makeup because the woman's still performing. Like you could have epilogued this 2 more endings if you wanted to, but you didn't have to, you know.
Well, I think that's the other thing. This movie very well could have strayed into parody, because you've got Claire going to her husband's funeral, and she's got the electric keyboard and a microphone set up right next to the coffin.
Sure.
This could have easily been Dewey Cox Part 2, but it is, especially when she's in the middle of that song, and then towards the end, just that great tribute to her husband. And I don't think I'd heard that song before. I don't know what that is, but it's
the same. Yeah.
It feels like Neil Diamond wrote it for this film,
which is wild, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I props to Craig Brewer. Yeah, I know I feel like we're missing something. Is there anything that we haven't covered that y'all wanted to? Oh, I do know one more thing, but I want to give you the chance. If there's anything else that we should dive into, let's talk about it.
Kitty, you got one? I got one.
I mean, the one thing I can think of with this film, and again, that it's all about the people. I love the fact that from the moment that Claire, and she introduced her kids to Mike right away, because she immediately had this feeling like, this is something different. I want you guys to meet him. I know. And even her daughter's like, oh God, seriously? Again, it's like, no, this is different.
And another Carney, you know.
And then to the end, it's just the fact how he so easily, and the synergy with all of them, you would have thought that this is why, one of the reasons why I was like, seriously, this only was just like a 3-year time, like all of this happened in that time, because just the comfortableness that they have with each other, and just allowing each other that just unconditional love is amazing. Like you don't see that in a lot of like families that intertwine. And the fact that her daughter, you know, immediately acted like they were sisters and stuff like that. And at the end, how, you know, it is his son. I mean, they were together for a very short amount of time, but you cannot say that was not his son.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is another thing that says, again, so much about them as people, and, you know, that relatability of everyday people. But also that I think Craig Brewer just did such a great job making that. It's like, you know, just, it's dumb, but just Hugh Jackman just in his, you know, just in his underwear while his son was recording him. It's like, is this okay? It's like, yeah, that's fine. It's just, it's uncomfortable, but
surely from the waist up. Yeah.
And that's the thing, that it's like, you know, this is just a dumb thing. It's like, I just got to do this real quick. It's like, Dad, put on some pants. It's like, just 1 second. And I mean, it's one of those things that another thing that I just love about that family aspect of the film, that is that they really wanted to get across. And I think they did beautifully.
I think, and to that, I want to pick up on that, because you're right. The family comes first for both of these people. There's not like, oh, I've got a new, you know, wife, so I'm not going to care about my kids, and vice versa.
Right.
But there's also, I think, because I don't know how old the real Mike and Claire were. Let's just assume they were around the same age. There is something about, because, you know, Jackman's in his 50s and Kate Hudson is like a year younger than me, so like mid to late 40s, right?
Right.
There is an aspect to being middle-aged and middle Western, I think, where there's just such a comfortability. You really stop caring about a lot of things, and in your vanity,
It's true.
especially given their circumstances, it's not there. I think that's why they seek a lot of refuge in the kind of the glitz and glamour of this showbiz persona, because it's
Yeah.
so contrary to what their day-to-day life is. So you don't have those pretensions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It does feel very lived in and warm, but not hokey.
Well, the other thing is like along the same lines of just like Midwestern and resilient is there's no bad guy in this movie. There's no evil manager. There's no guy breaking up the band. The bad guy is circumstances. The bad
That
guy
is
is
That
you
is
know,
an
I-
excellent point.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like there's no marital strife that splits them up. No one gets a bigger head than somebody else. And like, because we see that in so many other biopics, especially of this type, where something internally breaks them up. There's not, Elvis versus Priscilla, like we're not having those moments. These two through and through are going to stick together, and there's nothing that's going to break them apart, and nothing even comes close. I thought for a second, oh, it's going to be Jim Belushi, but like, it's a villainless picture, and that helps a ton too. Where there's no like, why is the man holding me down? There's no like larger social commentary of like, well, we're never going to make it because this is just not how the business is, or none of that either. It's just, we're just trying to get in the casino scene and the carnies of the carnies. Like, it's just small and simple, and it does the job. The only large like rainbow place this goes is like the idea of like cross-generational respect. The fact that Eddie Vedder shows up. Well, at least they, getting that rub from Pearl Jam is just that idea of like, I think I said it, that cross-generational respect. Where like, there's enough people out there who love like old music and bring it forward to their fans and bring it forward to their kids, to their people. And like, it's neat to see, maybe not so much like Taylor Swift and the current people, but you hear about people and like, oh man, I just love a good Blank song. And it's something obscure from their childhood or from their parents' era, where all of a sudden that's what they like that because their parents like they introduced it to them, or a generation above them. So I'd like to hope that this movie hopefully plays really well over the holidays, where like there's probably an entire generation of people who have no idea who Neil Diamond is other than Sweet Carolina at a halftime show in some college basketball game, where they can dig into and go, dang, that's some pretty good music. And tell me more about this singer-songwriter guy who we never see in the movie,
Yeah.
That's nice too,
When I think that so go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm sure there's a bunch of kids who don't even know Neil Diamond's name, but they know that, oh, he does the Ba 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 song. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. They might not even know who Eddie Vedder is either, and yet we might have that moment too all of a sudden. So
there's the moment in the movie where Mike and Claire don't know who Eddie Vedder is, but they're like, what?
Once those light bulbs come on for different people, young and old, it's really fun to see,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think on the phone when Mike gets the phone call from Eddie Vedder, it turns out he says, "You want me to do some kind of a concert for Jelly, Pearl Jam?"
Right.
But that another great moment is the concert where they're opening up for Pearl Jam, because you don't know which way this is going to go.
Yeah.
You don't, because it's like a young grunge band. Well, I mean, this was like probably the mid '90s, so they were already pretty big at this point.
Oh yeah.
So you don't know if they're bringing out this Neil Diamond tribute act as a joke for the younger fans. They're like, oh, this is, hey, get a load of your parents' music. This is the old stuff. We're the new generation. There's that lovely moment backstage where Mike says to Eddie, hey, Eddie, would you do me a favor, musician to musician? And then it cuts immediately back to the daughters sitting in the crowd. It's Rachel and Angelina, who I want to talk about in a second. And you think, oh, they're going to get Eddie Vedder to come out on stage and introduce the act and say, and this one goes out to, Angelina and Rachel or something. But no, it's so much cooler than that, because mom and dad come out and they start singing, and then Eddie Vedder comes out and sings with them in all sincerity. It's not like he's not like doing a Weird Al kind of like making fun of, doing a parody of their music. He's into it, and it's just so optimistic and warm.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we can all get along.
The closest thing I've seen of that in real life is Justin Timberlake, a Memphis kid, is a big Garth Brooks fan. And he's that guy who's kind of brought 90s country to his crowd, and that's a unique thing that you see Garth singing with Justin singing with Garth. And this is still probably 10 years ago, but the idea that like, just like artists remember the things that inspired them, and it's kind of neat to see even a tribute band get that rub. And it's really it's fun to watch. It's a hero moment in the movie.
Definitely. So the two things I want to mention, one are Rachel and Angelina. Rachel is played by Ella Anderson, and King Princess, very interesting name, plays Angelina as the respective daughters. And the one thing that I was really struck by, particularly late in the film, is, I mean, they're tremendous actresses based only on this performance. I don't know them from anything else, but they look like they could be the respective daughters of Kate Hudson and Hugh Jackman. It's uncanny. But the other thing I wanted to mention, I said the car accident thing was a low point in the filmmaking for me, but I think a high point, and it was a very cute kind of moment, but very well executed, was there's a bit where Claire needs to get up and go to a rehab appointment for her like prosthetic leg. And she's all grumpy because Rachel's coming in to get her. And you get the feeling it's like early morning. She doesn't want to get out of bed. She just wants to go collapse in the bed. And she gets back in the bed. And she's like, give me 5 minutes. And she lays down and then knock on the door. And she's like, what is it? She gets up and she swings the door open. And then Rachel's like, Mom, dinner's ready. And then it cuts back to Kate Hudson. Yeah. The sun is down, like everything is completely changed. Now, I did not cheat. I might go back and do, because I'm going to watch this movie again, probably over the holidays with my family. But I'm going to pay really close attention to where that sunlight is when she's going to the door, because I feel like it's still sunny out, but she might be in that kind of fog where to sell the point that she doesn't realize how much time has passed. But it's a really quick, great little way of just describing the horrible mental state that she's in. She has no concept of time. She's just wallowing in her own, depression and pill stupor. It's great.
Well, and it's been a couple weeks, but from my memory of it is when Rachel tries to get her up, it's like, if you're not going to go, then you need to call them and reschedule again. And then when she goes back down, and then the knocking happens and the son opens the door and he says it's dinner time. And
does the son open the door? I thought Rachel opened the door.
The son opened the door, because then Rachel's at the table and she's like, I thought we were going to rehab. And Rachel does this sign. It's like, she says it's like, that was either 4 or 5 hours ago.
4 hours. Yeah.
My thing is that I kind of thought it was the morning, but then when Rachel was so frustrated in that means she'd been sleeping all morning and afternoon. And then with that, what she thought was 5 minutes was 5 hours of just her just doing. And then there ends up being that whole fight where when she bringing up stuff, it's like, you always liked it when, the girls kissed you and you did that stuff. It's like, that was part of it. It's like, she's picking fights. She wants to have any sort of thing. And that's obviously, the drugs and the pain talking and stuff like that. And that's when I feel like that was the lowest of the low with all of them. But then it kind of does get a little bit lower with certain things going on. But that was a hard scene to watch, especially as you said, from the beginning, we have this like, this rise to, their success that they have. And then to just have it just completely wiped out, taken away like that. And the fact that even at that time when Claire's going through what she has to go through in the hospital, then Mike is having, in the neck, he's like, I don't want, let's be honest. Healthcare prices have not decreased that much, and they weren't that low in the 90s. And for, the money that they were making, we all know they weren't rich. But to have both of them going through that stuff in the hospital, Mike knew, it's like, just do this. It's really quick because I cannot lose her and I'm about to have this going on. It's like, to me, it's like, damn, Rachel, that was a childhood I would not want. That's a lot to go through in that amount of time. And I think Ella Anderson did an amazing job.
Well, especially that scene, he's walking her through it, not just, he's saying like that George guy on that show on TV that you like.
Yeah.
But he alludes to the fact that he's done it. He's had people help him out with this before. Like you said, to kind of get around those those doctor's fees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think again, talking about sidestepping expectations, that scene, the fight on the couch where she's hurling all this stuff at Mike. In another movie, in 100 other movies we've seen, those accusations would have stung because they would have been true. He would have been the guy that's like after the groupies and all this other stuff, but or the Band-Aids, as the case may be. He was, true to her, and I think that's what hurt him even more and helped him realize that it's not her, it's the drugs talking. So yeah, I'm very happy with this Christmas movie, and I'm ecstatic that you both were here to share this with me, and that it's not me being grumpy and being all grinchy here on the holidays.
I know, no Grinch review. Yay!
Sweet.
All right. Well, folks out there, thank you for popping in. Again, I hope you heeded our spoiler warning. There you go, Katie.
Get that,
man.
Get the sequence out. All right.
But yeah, if you've made it this far and you've heeded the warnings, again, you can go see this movie knowing everything that happens and still not quite be prepared for the way in which it happens. Some fantastic performances, some really sharp directing, some excellent writing. This is the perfect holiday movie. So go check it out tomorrow when it opens wide, or sometime over the holiday. You will not regret it, I dare say.
Yeah.
But yes, I am Ian Simmons of Kicking the Seat. We have Katie Glidewell, the blue blonde in front, and Don Shanahan of Film Obsessive, and Every Movie Has a Lesson in the Cinephile Hissy Fit podcast. Anything else before we go, gang?
See this instead of Marty Supreme.
Ooh, that's throwing down the gauntlet, sir.
There's the confidence, the charismatic
it's
jerkness
cool
that he is. I mean, there's lines in that film that I still am just like, wow. But as far as a family film goes, this is the one to see. Honestly, this is the
or if you miss Rental Family and Thanksgiving, those are the two.
Yeah, from beginning to end, this is the film. This is a true Christmas film, and the film, honestly, that I think America needs right now is Song Sung Blue.
I agree. And yeah, so I think we'll leave it there. I will say that it is on my top 10 list, and I'm noticing a theme with my top 10. I don't want to spoil it. And I am going to release one this year. I haven't done it in about half a decade.
Okay.
But positivity and light and great stories about real-ish people. It's going to include Life of Chuck and F1 and Companion, strangely enough, which is about the furthest thing as you can get, but still Sophie Thatcher, I can't help but recognize her in that performance. So anyhow, everybody, thank you for hanging out and watching us talk about this movie that's officially not even out yet. Hope you came back and watched it if you decided to pause and watch the Song Sung Blue and then return to see our opinions. But next week we're going to be doing a Tuesday show again, a little bit different schedule because of the holidays. So join us back next Tuesday. That is December 30th. Yep, that's the day before New Year's Eve. We'll be talking about Boogie Nights.
Okay.
Paul Thomas Anderson, the movie that really put him on the map. He's got a film in awards contention this season, and we're going to talk about him going back to his roots. So yeah, good old Boogie Nights, which has a memorable New Year's Eve scene. Wow. Anyhow.
Oh, it does.
You're going there. Okay. Yeah, you sure do.
Just wait for the thumbnail, gang. Anyhow.
Okay. You get enough of us to cover the blood on the wall. Okay, got it.
No, it's going to be right before that happens, but it'll still be like for those who know kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Anyhow, thank you all very much. If you like this show, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. There you go. Thanks, Don. Always coming through the bell. Please follow all of Earth's Mightiest critics. Their information will be down below. And until next time, whenever that is, whatever that is, thank you very much. And I'll say it. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Yes, definitely.